In this video, we will cover how to establish a connection to your Redis environment and how to both read and write data into Redis easily. We can first create a new Redis Connection Manager by right-clicking in the Connection Managers window and selecting New Connection. From the list, we can select Redis to add our new connection into the package. The first page, Authentication, would have the general connection details needed to set up the connection. The next page, Advanced, has the same authentication details we populated previously, as well as additional connection properties you may adjust. Under the connection, you would be able to set properties for connection and retry settings, server discovery and configuration, security and SSL, and client or session behavior. When we have configured our connection manager, the Test Connection button can be used to see if a successful connection has been made to the service. Pressing OK saves our current configuration and closes the Connection Manager window. In our data flow, the Redis Source Component is used when we want to read and retrieve data from Redis. The Source Component can be found within the SSIS toolbox, and we can drag and drop or double-click to add it to the data flow. The component's general configurations can be set on the initial page. The Connection Manager dropdown allows the selection of an existing Redis connection or the creation of a new one. Depending on how your namespace separator is configured, you may select the appropriate type. Next, in the Pivot Mode dropdown, you can choose to have no pivoting or pivot based on key value pair. The key field allows you to set a key directly by entering a value. Otherwise, we can discover the available keys using the ellipsis. This will take you to the Metadata Discover window, where keys can be searched. By default, the asterisk will search all keys, or a value can be entered to get back a subset of keys. In the Key Search window, you may select a key to preview. In the bottom, this will preview the fields and value before we import the metadata. The last option back in the General page, Batch Size, allows us to set how many records should be retrieved within each batch. Available to all pages, the Refresh button can be used to refresh the component's metadata. This is helpful if there are changes to the metadata in Redis that have not been applied in the component. The FX icon allows you to parameterize from the available list of properties the component supports. This way, the property can be dynamically set with an expression. The Generate Documentation icon can create a Word document that describes the component's columns and mappings. If we discovered the metadata and moved to the Columns page, we would be able to see them available. A column can be unselected to exclude it from the integration as required. Hide Selected Fields will hide all currently checked fields, and Hide Unselected will only show the excluded fields. By entering a string into the filter box, you may quickly search to find a column. Selecting a column will display its column properties on the right side, and these properties, such as the data type, can be changed. A new column can be manually added, or an existing column deleted. You may export the current column's configuration into a JSON file, or import the metadata from an existing file. Once we are happy with our configuration, we can press OK to save and close. To write to our Redis instance, we can work with our Redis Destination Component. We have included an example data source, so we can now drag and drop our component and connect. The component's general configurations can be set on the initial page. The Connection Manager dropdown allows the selection of an existing Redis connection or the creation of a new one. Depending on how your namespace separator is configured, you may select the appropriate type. Next, in the Pivot Mode dropdown, you can choose to have no pivoting or pivot based on key value pair. The Key field allows you to set a key directly by entering a value. Otherwise, we can discover the available keys using the ellipsis. This will take you to the Metadata Discover, where keys can be searched. By default, the asterisk will search all keys, or a value can be entered to get back a subset of results. In the Key Search window, you may select a key to preview. At the bottom, a preview of the fields and value can be seen before importing the metadata. Back in the General page, there are some additional properties that can be set. The Redis data type dropdown allows you to select which Redis structure to write to. Next, the action dropdown can be selected between upsert and delete. Lastly, the key time to live allows you to set how long Redis should keep the key before deleting it. By default, this is set to 0 for no expiry. Available to all pages, the reset input columns will set the component back into its initial state with no column metadata discovered. The refresh component button can be used to refresh the component's metadata. This is helpful if there are changes to the metadata in Redis that have not been applied yet within the component. The map unmapped fields and clear all mappings can manipulate the columns page mappings by mapping any columns that match based on name or clear all mapped columns. The FX icon allows you to parameterize from the available list of properties the component supports. This way, the property can be dynamically set with an expression. The Generate Documentation icon can create a Word document that describes the component's metadata, such as the columns and mapping. If we discovered the metadata and moved to the columns page, we would be able to see them available. Just to show the two options, we will unmap all the columns and then remap once again. Hide selected fields will hide all currently checked fields, and Hide Unselected will only show the excluded fields. By entering a string into the filter box, you may quickly search to find a column. Any column can be manually mapped with the Input Column dropdown. A new column can be manually added, or an existing column deleted. Selecting a column will display its column properties on the right side, and these properties can be changed. You may export the current column's configuration into a JSON file, or import the metadata from an existing JSON file. The last page error handling is used to help you specify how errors should be handled when they occur, as well as additional output columns that can be enabled. By default, this will be set to fail the execution when an error occurs. Ignore errors can be set to skip the error and continue the operation. Redirect rows to error output can be selected to redirect just the rows that have received an error, and have them flow in a new error output path for inspection and further processing or logging. There are some additional columns available in the default output that have been returned in the response. We can show this after we save our component's configuration. The first path we connect is the default path, where successfully written rows flow through. If we double-click on the path and go to the metadata, the new columns is made available. Same for the error output path. If we connect this, we would be able to see the rows that have failed here. There are 3 additional columns: error code, error column, and error message available for troubleshooting or logging. We hope this video has been helpful in your understanding in working with our Redis Connection Manager, Source, and Destination components. Give this a try in your integrations. KingswaySoft, data integration made easy.